Hi everyone, my name is Courtney. I write under the pen names Lyra Parish, and I'm one half of the USA Today best-selling duo Kennedy Fox. And today is another cover critique day. I'm super excited about this episode, and I hope you are as well. We will be looking at Bethany Adizada's cover of The Stolen Kingdom, and this review is going to be slightly different because this book is actually on all platforms. I don't have to guess. I know this because I follow Bethany, and so I know her books are wide. And so because of that, we are going to look at this in a different way than we would, say, a Kindle Unlimited book, because there are different aspects when it comes to branding and having a cover design for a book that's going on all platforms compared to a book that is going into Kindle Unlimited. Before we get started, I also wanted to let you know that I will be doing a giveaway with collaboration with Shannon Nemechek, and I am very excited about this. Shannon won a tea subscription box from one of my giveaways back in December, and she told me that she would rather pay that forward. And I was like, well, what can I do that would be a little different, because I don't want to pick another winner. I'd already announced that winner for that giveaway. I was like, you know what, I'll just add a giveaway to one of the cover critique videos because I know that people need help with that and covers are expensive. Shannon, being the nice person that she is, said, well, you know what, since you're gonna do that, I'm going to PayPal you $75 to put towards this giveaway. Because she then PayPal'd me $75. I was like, you know what, I am going to match that. And so one of my subscribers, yes, you must be subscribed to enter in this giveaway, will win $200 that will be PayPal to you with the intent to be spent on a cover redesign for one of your books, any of your books. You can use any designer. I'm not going to lock you into using a specific person that I like. I want you to be able to choose someone that maybe you've never been able to use before, and so that's why I am going to PayPal you. Now, details for that giveaway will be at the end of this video, but I would like to say that this, I hope, is going to be super helpful and worth watching, especially if you are an author that's in Kindle Unlimited who is considering putting their books wide, or vice versa. I think that you can learn something on both ends of the spectrum. So without further ado, I think that we should probably get started with this video because this intro is just going on forever. Actually, before we do that, I do want to explain something when it comes to cover design for a book that is on all platforms compared to a book that is in Kindle Unlimited. When it comes to any of the other platforms, they don't really use subcategories. Kindle Unlimited subcategories are what you're trying to target and where you're trying to rank, because when you are ranking, then you essentially are also ranking in the overall store, and that visibility allows people to find you and download the book. And when you're in Kindle Unlimited, when someone downloads, that's when you start to see your rank drop closer to the #1 spot. I'm not saying #1, I'm just giving you a reference because I've had in other videos people go, what does it mean when you say your rank drop? Does it drop like goes closer to 100,000 or goes closer to 1? And so when I say drop, I mean closer to #1 spot. Like it's going down in numbers and in ranks, which is a good thing. On those other stores, they don't use sub-genres in the same way that Amazon does. So I know that Bethany said in her email, hold on, let me check it real quick. The main genre would be young adult, and the main subgenre would be fantasy. And that's what we are going to compare these covers to, because she sent me both covers. Her original design that is now available in paperback, and also the design that she has on her ebook. And so we're gonna take both of those designs and we are going to compare them in the main categories that these books would fall under on the wide platforms. Now on Amazon, of course, we're gonna look at fairy tale retelling, we're gonna look at the adaptations, we're gonna look at Fairytales and Folklore. It's a subset of the main genre. And that's where you will see a lot of Kindle Unlimited books ranking. And when you are on all platforms, you're not trying to attract Kindle Unlimited readers, because they have one goal in mind, and that is to rent books, read them, download them, return them out of their library, download more. They're typically binge readers. They will download a lot. They may not read all of them. They may give it a chapter a chance and then return it. So just because your rank is falling doesn't mean that money correlates with that when it comes to Kindle Unlimited. Those subcategories, the folklore, fairy tale, all of that, that is something that we would focus really, really hard on as a Kindle Unlimited author. When you're wide, that is not the case. You are trying to compete in a broader market. There are more readers than what's on Amazon. Amazon's not king. I will not start. I have tons of videos about it and I talk about it all the time. That's not the discussion for today. I think a lot of authors miss out on an opportunity because they don't realize that. And also cover designers don't realize that. So when you create a cover, you have to look at all the markets, especially if you're wide and you know your books are going to stay wide. And when you know that you have a good package as far as cover, blurb, and an amazing book, you know, I talk about like the 3 things that make a book incredible that sells well. When you know you've got a good package and you are targeting a wide audience instead of just Kindle Unlimited readers, that's when you see Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Google Play, and Apple make more money each day than just Amazon. So those 4 stores, or if you're on Draft to Digital, should make you more money than what your Amazon sales are. When authors complain and they're like, well, I made more money on Amazon than I ever did being wide, it makes me wonder if their packaging is for a Kindle Unlimited audience, because it's different. It's very different. And I know this because we have made that mistake. And we had books in KU. They were written for KU. The titles were wrong. The covers were wrong. We put them wide and guess what? They didn't sell well till we had a title rebrand and a cover rebrand. Then people started downloading them. And that's because our packaging was wrong and we limited our belief to target those Amazon readers without realizing on other platforms, that's really not what people want. Going into this with an open mindset, I hope this helps everyone who has their books on all platforms. I will say I don't know how Bethany's sales are. I don't know how these books are doing. I don't know any of the intricate details. I'm just strictly looking at covers in a wide market, and that's it. That's all we're looking at. And so we're going to start off on Google Play. It's a place where all of you should be if you're wide. Don't leave money on the table. I should have that like tattooed on my arm. Don't do that. Don't leave money on the table. Make sure that you're putting your books everywhere they can possibly be. Everywhere they can possibly be on wide platforms. We are going to go to the internets. To the internet we go! Let me open an incognito window. I like to do that because I feel like the internet is tracking me and they know what I like and they know what I like to see. I don't want them to suggest items to me I want them to suggest items that the typical person would like. And that's why we're going to use an incognito window. So remember what I just said about looking at it in a broad spectrum. The main genre is actually young adult fantasy with the sub-genre of fairy tale retellings, but wide platforms, they don't have subgenres like that. So just remember that as we go through it. We're looking at it on a very broad spectrum to see if these covers can compete in a wide market. And I'm really excited to look at this. I haven't done it for a wide book yet, so it's so exciting. I hope that this helps you guys talk to designers about things that you have discovered, because some cover designers will just do whatever authors tell them to do, and they don't think about the marketing that has to go behind it. So I'm hoping that by the end of this, like, you guys will have the skills when you put your books wide to do this. And there's no hate with KU. Like, I just want to be clear about that. There's no hate with KU, but there's different marketing and different branding that you'll use in KU versus wide. So let's go to Google Play. Here we are. We're at the Google Play Store, and what we're going to look for is our genres up here in the corner. And we are going to go to young adult. Let's go to the new and notable. We can also look at this week's bestsellers, but this is New York Times, and you guys know, you know that it's rigged. Let's just be honest. New York Times is rigged. Essential reads, great reads from Wednesday Books, mysteries and thrillers, paranormal romance. We're in young adult, so let's go to the top ebooks in young adult. What I'm seeing is a bunch of illustrated covers. Like, of course, this is a volume. So you've got hand-drawn, you've got kind of illustrated. You've got a discreet type cover. You've got more illustrated. This is illustrated. This is illustrated. 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 Oh my goodness. Illustrated. Like, I'm seeing a lot of illustrated. I'm also seeing a different color scheme. I'm seeing, of course, blacks and blues, but then you see stuff that's like Cinder. That's a fairy tale retelling, right? That cover has changed. It did not used to look like that. So they've done a rebrand on that. You've got The Wicked, which is like a crown. Six of Crows. I mean, that book is very popular. Of course, Vampire Academy. But what I'm seeing on this of the top sellers, which looks like fantasy, let's count them. And we're talking about covers that have illustrations on it and not necessarily like women. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. 39, 30, 54, 55, 63, 64. So out of how many rows? One. Okay, so out of the 88 books that are here on this page, I would say some of these don't really count, like this GED book. Like, hey, it's young adult, sure. But the majority of the books on Google Play that are the top ebooks and young adult, which most of them kind of look like it's a mix between fantasy and contemporary to me, I would say that most of them, they don't have people on them. And that's the main assessment that I'm gonna grab from Google Play. Now we're gonna move over to Barnes & Noble. We're gonna do the same exact thing. And we're just trying to figure out, should we have a person on the cover or should we have an object on the cover? And that's the first step to figuring out which cover we should be focusing on between the two that Bethany has right now. I personally like them both, but you know, my opinion, I'm not the target audience, so it doesn't really matter what I like. And as an author, it doesn't matter what you like either. You have to learn to not be married to your covers. And the quicker you learn that, the quicker you can adapt to a market and sell more books, even if they are years old. Even if they're years old. Trust me, we rebrand quite often. Not a whole lot. We're not doing it so much where it's annoying like some people, but we do it, you know, every 3 years. It gets stale, we rebrand it, we keep it for another 3 or 4 years, and then we rebrand it again. And our readers know we make sure that we give people the opportunity to finish the series that they have in those collections in that cover design. But we've made mistakes and we've changed covers in the middle of a series because we don't know everything and we had to learn the hard way. And so that's why I do this series, so then maybe you won't have to learn the hard way like we did, because covers are not cheap and it can make a huge difference when you have the right cover. But anyway, on to the next one. Okay, so we're gonna go to young adult because that's where we need to be. That's the main squeeze. Where are you, young adult? Teens and YA. So we've got our Children's YA Books Award and YA winner. Let's look at 100 Books of Summer, and we can also look at Book Talk, new releases you need right now, and just announced. Let's look at just announced. I think this will be fun to kind of scroll through because these are books that are typically on pre-order. We've got one with people on it, illustrated, 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 illustrated. 2 with people. The other 4 are illustrated, and that's the ones that are just announced. New releases you need right now. Let's look at the new releases and check that out. These look all illustrated. There's One Girl, illustrated on row 3. This Star Wars book doesn't really count, but it's got a person on the front. And we're counting how many girls are on the front covers, or people that is not like hand-drawn. So we've got 2. I would say maybe, no, that's more of hand-drawn. So there's 2 in the first page. 3, actually 3. I saw one at the bottom. 4, 5. Let me open up. Okay, so I just opened Bethany's cover so y'all could see it. You can tell that this is more of a photo manipulation with this girl and not like a hand drawing or an illustration of a person. And that's the difference. Castle image is more of like an illustration. In the romance world, we call that an object cover or a discrete cover or an alternative cover. We have them for our books. they sell well. So when we're looking at these sites, we're looking to see how many photo manipulation people are ranking on all of these wide sites, because that's what you have to look at, because you want these books to sell really well on all platforms, not just be a beast on Amazon, because if that's what you're targeting, then you should probably just put your books in Kindle Unlimited. These are the covers. I love them. I really do adore both of them very much. And we're just gonna keep going. These I wouldn't really count because this looks like a hand-drawn image of a girl. Harley Quinn, hand-drawn. Blood of Scion, hand-drawn. Furia, hand-drawn. We've got Cinder and Glass. This one I would say is probably more of a photo manipulation, just like Bethany's cover is. It's more realistic in nature and not something that you can tell someone painted. The Queen of Tiles, hand-drawn. Very Bad People, hand-drawn. We're gonna go to the next page. So I maybe saw like 2 or 3 there. We're on the next page. At the top, I would say all of those are illustrations. I would continue to say that we're still on illustrations. Home is Not a Country. That is definitely not an illustration, so that's a person. You Are More Than Magic, that's a person. Right Where You Left, that's a person, so that's 3. I would say that this is more of an illustration than a manipulation. 4 here. This looks more like a manipulation. So I would count her as 5. More illustrations. So there was 5 on that page. Person, so 1, all illustrations. A person, 2, the rest illustrations. These are illustrations of people. This is an actual person, so 3. More illustrations, more illustrations. Okay, one more page. So there was like 4 of actual photo manipulations. An actual person 2, an actual person 3, an actual person 4. It's a box set. I'm not really going to count that. This is a photo manipulation 5, 6. Those are illustrations. 7, 8. So there was more on that page, but you can still see just scrolling through this for the young adult category. I'm not seeing photo manipulations used that much on Barnes & Noble. That was the same thing that I noticed on Google Play as well. This is a series, so of course all those count. Okay, off to Kobo we go. Let's go to ebooks. We're gonna go to fiction, YA, and we are gonna go to fantasy over here. Let's see what other categories they have. Not really anything that would fit, so we're gonna stick with our main genre, which is YA fantasy. And we're just looking for photo manipulations on these pages. We've got 45,000 results. We're gonna go through about 5 pages. It's sorted by bestsellers, so we can do in English, so then we know that we're looking for English titles, and we're just gonna go through 5 pages and make an assessment as to what we're seeing. 1, 2, this looks more like an illustration to me. Definitely is. 3, illustration as well. So on the first page we found 3 that actually have real people. 4, 5 illustrations. 6, 7, Sarah J. Maas though, come on. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Out of 3 pages of 23 books, we've found 12 books that are considered bestsellers on Kobo that have photo manipulated people. We'll do one more. So 13. I don't know if I'd really count that, but we'll say 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Oh, that's heavily like, that is a photo manipulation though. 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, so out of 5 pages, 1 entire page essentially of books would be a book with a person on it. All right. I mean, let's go to Apple. Let's go to Apple. Excuse the romance, and we're gonna browse this by young adult because that's where we're at, girl. We're in the young adult category, and we're going to look at the same thing that we were looking at on the other ones. What I like to see is the top page. I don't know if I can make this any bigger for you guys. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit if this will make this bigger for you, but we're gonna go through it and you'll see the same types of books. So see more paid. This is what we want. No, stop it, stop. It says I can enter full screen. I still can't see it very well though. Okay, so we had 1, 2, I would say 3, 4, 5, 6. That looks like illustration. 7, that's an illustration too. 8. Is this an illustration? I'll say 9 with that one. This is an illustration as well. I saw that cover on the other one. Illustration. Manipulation. So 10. Say this is manipulation too. 11. That's illustration. So where was I at? 10? Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be off by 1. And then you've got The Broken Prince, Jennifer Armentrout, and Aaron Watt at the bottom. And those are all illustrated covers. So out of top 100 paid, we've got 10%. Let's go to sci-fi and fantasy because I just want to make sure that we are doing our complete due diligence because I feel like it's very important. And we're just going to look for the same thing, right? Because these books can be put into several categories. You can see this. I mean, these Sarah J. Maas books are in both of those categories and they're ranking in both of them. And so we're gonna look for photo manipulation people. I feel like this is one who, nope, illustration. We're still going, we're still scrolling. Oh man, are all of these illustrations? This might be a manipulation. Yeah, that's one. So 1 or 2, 3, we're on number 3, 4, 5, 6, or is this, but it's The Witcher, so like, come on. I feel like they can break out of the mold. Okay, and then there's one at the bottom. All right, guys, it is not impossible to rank in these categories on Apple. And I know that because we've made them. I share them on my Instagram stories. Each time we're like top 10 in the overall Apple store or number 1 in romance or new adult. I think it all comes down to marketing, packaging, the blurbs, and just, you know, having the right package. Like that's the number 1 thing to be able to sell your books. Let's go back up here to young adult and then see if there is another subcategory. So what they're doing is they're putting them in fantasy. If it's a young adult book, they're also putting it in fantasy, and that's how they are going about this. Oh look, they're actually bigger where you can actually see them now. That would have been great. Now that I'm looking at these Sarah J. Maas ones, I'm kind of thinking that those are, yeah, they're photo manipulations for sure. Before I even go to Amazon, before I even go there and look at these subcategories, I know deep down what I'm gonna see. Like I can just already predict what's going on. I can already predict it just by starting here and then going to Amazon second or last. I would say that your covers should not have a girl on them. I would either go for an illustration. That seems to be what's in for young adult and for fantasy right now. And I would choose between an illustration of an object like the original cover and or an illustration of the girl that's currently on there. I would probably though stick to something that's more object related because it's easier to incorporate that into a theme and to make a brand off of that between all of your covers. A lot of these covers you'll see, they are illustrated with like symbols or like different objects that have to do with the story. Like for example, this of Beast and Beauty, right? This book has 1,849 ratings. It's about 7 fairy tale kingdoms, 7 vengeful sisters, 7 daughters of evil. It's young adult, it's self-published, and it published in 2019, and it's got a lot of reviews on it. The reviews seem to be really good. Look at this, 4.5 stars. When you look at this book and you look at the other books that are in the series, these are fairy tale retellings. They're selling for $4.99. And the good thing about this is you know what you're getting into. This person has pulled elements from the Disney stories that everyone knows and loves and adores to attract those readers to a story that is known in their heart, that encourages them to buy the books that are the retellings, to hear her story of it. And right now, if I look at your covers, all of my opinions are my own, guys. I'm just saying, this I know is an Aladdin retelling, but what invokes me to read this as your intended audience, as your reader, what ties me to that story that I already know and love? What is making me want to pick this book up? And I don't see the relatability between the story that everybody knows with Jasmine and Aladdin and the genie. I don't see that relatability with this. And sure, we've got a castle, but I mean, a lot of fantasy books do. It's not something that is for specific retellings. And so I think that if you narrow down the elements that makes your story different, but also similar to the story that everyone knows, that you will capture a larger audience on all platforms. And like I said, everybody, I don't know what Bethany's sales are like. I have no idea. This is just a general consensus of looking at covers. And right now I can tell you that this doesn't scream Aladdin retelling to me. It doesn't. When I think about Aladdin, the first thing I think about is the genie. I think about the lamp. I think about the flying carpet. I think about what Jasmine was wearing on that flying carpet. You know, two-piece gorgeous suit I wish I could wear for Halloween. That would never happen. Like, I think of those elements. And so when you're doing retellings, if you can pull in just small things that hints at that, I think people are like, oh my God, this is an Aladdin retelling. Holy crap, I need this book. I love Aladdin. It was my favorite. You know what I mean? So right now I think it's missed the mark. And I would say that for both covers, more so for the cover with the girl. I would get rid of the girl cover. I think that the castle is great. I think that that is more of the high concept of fairy tale retelling, but it hasn't been dialed down enough for the specific story. When you think of Beauty and the Beast, what do you think of? The flower, the glass jar, Belle's yellow dress, the teapot, Chip. I mean, it's all Disney characters, but if you can pull any elements from that, you will be able to capture more people because they know the story, but this one's different. That's why you see a bunch of these Beauty and the Beast retellings, even the darker romance ones, like it's always like red, dark, bloody looking flowers because people are drawn towards that. They know that that's an element in the story, and so that draws them in. I don't see anything that tells me that this is an Aladdin retelling. I don't. Okay, but anyway, we're moving right along. It's a perfect example. When you look at this series, like at a first glance, if you're really into like fairy tales, I know the first one is about Cinderella. It's got a glass slipper. The second one is a Little Mermaid. The rest of them, I have no idea because I'm not up to date with my fairy tales, but there is a common theme around them. And they're also darker color covers, which is something that I have noticed. And so you've got this darkish type scene, and then you've got this object that people relate to that pulls them into the fairy tale retelling. Now, since that is out of the way, we've gone through Google Play, we've gone through Apple, we have gone through Barnes & Noble, we've gone through Kobo, we've done the dang thing. Now we're moving on to, you guessed it, my prediction, without even looking at any of this, is that the girl cover will compete with the Kindle Unlimited market. Straight up, like, it gave me chills. It gave me chills because I just have a sneaky suspicion this is what's going on with this. We're gonna do the dang thing. Don't let me be wrong, Amazon. Or actually, let me be wrong. I hope, Bethany, that I'm wrong. I hope that I am. I've made mistakes. Good thing is, we look it up on Amazon and what happens, it's the first thing that pops up. Yay. We're gonna go to the first book real quick and we're gonna look at this. We've got our first book, 425 reviews, Kindle's $3.99. We've got a nice blurb here, but let's read it real quick. Just one slip could cost her throne and her life. A lamp, a heist. Bethany, you talk about a lamp. You talk about a lamp in this. You talk about a genie in this blurb. Like, I know that the lamp is cliche, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel when it comes to covers. It's actually better if you don't reinvent the wheel when it comes to covers. But like, you've got it right here. That's what we should see on these covers. Like, oh my goodness. Okay. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. Also, I will say, guys, when you're doing your blurbs, if you look right here on Bethany's, she's got the hook right at the beginning. A dainty princess, like that whole thing, that is the hook for this book. Could it be stronger? I think so, because we know that her life is at risk, right? Like, this is high stakes. This is a big freaking deal. And I feel like with this, if you're going to put the bold and the introduction before the blurb up there, you need to have a sentence that's very high risk, that where all the person has to read is that. It's a good hook, but I think that it can be stronger. When you look at this and people are just stumbling across your book, it's important that you have the hook up at the top. Let me go to the Kindle version real quick because I just realized I was on paperback. I've seen authors who will put a big old long paragraph about their accomplishments there and nobody cares. They're stumbling across your book. This is like your prime real estate to hook them. So that has to be good. What else will I say about this? When you put your books on Amazon, you do not have to put an age. Don't try to change it now. It's too late. But going forward, you do not have to put an age. That is optional. The thing is your category of young adult, fantasy, retellings, whatever the subcategories are, I'm going to scroll down there in a second. It will stick it into that category, but it will not limit it to that category. There's no need for young adult authors to use that age category. So I would just skip it going forward. SD Hudson had it in there and she had a heck of a time trying to get it removed and end up having to put it back because after the fact, after it's published, it's done. But for future reference, guys, it's optional. Do not fill out that part. Trust me, don't do it. You don't want to be classified into a 6 through 12 grade level because there are a lot of adults who read this stuff. I'm looking at your 4 series. I'm happy that you have them booked together. We're gonna scroll down more. She's got her A+ set up, which is beautiful. I love it so much. Even if you decide to change these covers, I would leave this as your A+. The next thing is we've got our reviews here, amazing, and we've got an excerpt from one of the point of views. So you've given a lot of information. It was published August 20th of 2019. It has good reviews, 425 reviews, 4.5 out of 5. Like, that's really great. I'm just gonna scroll up and I wanna see your series real quick. You'll seem to like it when I do this. So we've got $3.99, $4.99, $4.99, $4.99. Pricing for ebooks look really good. I would say to increase the price on your paperbacks. Girl, hardcover for $14.57, paperback for $12.90. Is that price matching somewhere? Because that's cheap. All these paperbacks should be $14.99. All of these hardcovers, I would say $19.99 or even $22.99. You deserve to be paid for your work 100%. Let's look here real quick. Box set for $9.99. Bethany, ma'am, I know that you want to put it on Amazon, but listen to me. You are selling, what is that, $5, $10, $15, $19 worth of books for half price. I know that when you price over $9.99, they do not pay you over 30%. Let me reword that. If you price your book over $9.99 on Amazon, you're going to get 30% royalties. It sucks. It's terrible because you're literally giving away like 2 of these books. I have a suggestion for you, and you can totally just ignore me, but I'm still gonna make my suggestion because you trusted me, which thank you so much. I appreciate it, because half the time I don't even know what's gonna come out of my mouth. So the fact that you trusted me, thank you. I love you so much. You deserve to be paid for your work. And I will say that for every author. You deserve to be paid for your work. Do not undersell yourself. This is a series of 4 books that is worth $19, selling for half price. I would remove this box set. I would remove it, and I would box 2 books together. And I would make them $1 less than buying the 2 books, because then it helps you get more sales and you make the money that you deserve to make. Amazon doesn't deserve this, okay? They don't deserve it. We have books that are an entire 6-book series, and it's not on Amazon because we're not going to give away books for just to give them away. If people read on Kindle, they can buy them on our website. Guess what? They're everywhere else. They are on Apple, they're on Kobo, they're on Barnes & Noble and Google Play for $19.99. Some of them are $24.99. Some of them are $14.99, but they are all over $9.99 if it's more than 2 books. And I know that you did this because you wanted to make your 70%. I would remove it, leave it on the wide platforms, and if you've got it for $9.99 or $10.99, I didn't even look. We're gonna go look right now. We're gonna go look. I know you probably didn't sign up for all this, but we're still going for it. Let's look up your book on Kobo. Let's look it up. $11.99. These people have no idea what kind of deal they're getting right now. Like that, ma'am, no. I would up the price to this. I would up it to $14.99. At least, minimum. Turn on my foot warmer, so don't be weird. Minimum $14.99. Put it in 2 collections on Amazon. Do both of them for $8.99. Then you still get your 70%. Link them together as the whatever collections, book 1 and 2. You can keep your hardcover on there, no problem at all. Where they can buy all 4 of them together. But I would, what was the pricing for that? $33.99. I mean, I think that's pretty good. I think we sell ours for 4 books. I would have to go look, but I feel like that's a fair price for a hardcover that's that thick. Raise the price on this. $14.99 minimum. What we do, and what I've been pretty adamant about for a few years, is for every book that's in the series, you get $1 off. So if this first book is $3.99, then in the box set, it's going to be $2.99. Or give away a free book. So they pay $14.99 and they get the Stolen Kingdom for free every time they buy this. And on the wide platforms, there's different promotional opportunities available for you just for box sets. And let me see. I believe you're using, I know who will tell me. I need to go to Apple. Draft to digital. I'd put on your to-do list to go direct on all these platforms. Wait, are there 5 books in this series? No, that's a villain origin story. You could even put that in your box set that you're going to put on wide and raise the price even more. All 5 of them. I'm not even kidding. $19.99, all 5 of those books. Do not sell yourself short. I will always be an advocate for people getting paid for what they deserve to be paid. Remove it from Amazon, box them in 2 box sets. Girl, make that money. Make that money. Draft to digital, put on your list to go direct, because if you go direct, you can get on these promotions that have these box sets. It's like buy one, get one free. There's nothing that tells you that you can't put those other box sets like I suggested on Amazon for the first 2 books and the next 2 books or whatever, and you get the bonus in both of them, like the bonus book or whatever you want to do. There's nothing that tells you that you can't put those on these other sites too. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's an opportunity for you to target different readers with different type of covers. I would personally get rid of the 3D. I feel like a flat lay works better. It grabs people's attention more, because when they're just randomly searching, it's an opportunity to test a different type of cover out. Just a suggestion. Going direct will help you. Barnes & Noble, they have so many different promos in the back office. Kobo does too, and it's just going to be better for you in the long run. And I know it's a lot of work at the beginning, but once it is done, you will make more money. You won't pay Draft to Digital 15%. Still keep Draft to Digital for all the little stuff, but the main ones, girl, make that bag. Sorry, I got on a little rabbit trail, and y'all know how I do. But this price should be for like 2 of these books. Like, people, if you're watching this and you see this for $9.99, like, buy it. That is a literal steal. That's a literal steal. You know how much Bethany's making on this? $10 minus 30%. She's making $7 on 4 books, most of them that she sells for $5. But because Amazon won't let you price over $9.99, she's making $7 on this. That's not okay. I am not married to Amazon, and so the way that I look at it is they're not the end-all be-all, and people will pay $20 on other platforms for 4 books. If it's not a 3D like this, I don't care for that, but that could just be my opinion. I don't like it on anywhere other than on Amazon. I feel like on the other sites, it just looks better with a flat cover. Back to what we were doing. Apologies. So we went through all this. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through the subcategories. Okay, so what I want you guys to pay attention to when we go through this is how many books are in Kindle Unlimited that have photo manipulations. Because I can tell you right now, just looking at this, like glancing through it, this cover with this woman on it is for a Kindle Unlimited audience. That book is not branded for a wide market, but we're gonna go through it. We've got top paid 100. We're gonna count how many who are in Kindle Unlimited and how many have photo manipulations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Actually, this one's not KU, so we'll say 29, 30, 31. You see the illustrations? Not in KU. 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. Not in KU. Not in KU. 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. 46 books. In the top subcategory, out of 100, 46 of them are in Kindle Unlimited and have females on the cover. When we went through Kobo, there was like 5 pages and there were like 23 books out of 100 that had them. When we were on Apple, it was like 10%, 10 books out of 100. Amazon, half of them have women on the covers because they're targeted for a Kindle Unlimited audience. And if you're in Kindle Unlimited, perfect. It's not the same readers that read wide. It's not the same readers who don't read in Kindle Unlimited. I don't know how your sales are, but I would be willing to say that you make more money on Amazon because the covers are targeted towards the Kindle Unlimited Amazon reader. When I started looking at this on Google Play and Barnes & Noble and Kobo and Apple, I was like, man, I have a feeling that this is what's going on. And that happens because it's one of those details that you don't really learn until you've had bad packaging, essentially. And I don't see a lot of people talking about that online. Like, it's different to target a wide audience than it is for an Amazon Kindle Unlimited reader. And if these books are in KU, I would say the girl's probably great. It would probably, you know, be amazing. And next time when you do your next series, go and look at the top genre that you're going to be publishing in, so young adult, and just go through and look at what's selling right now. Is it mainly illustrated? Is it photo manipulation? Is it object type covers? So in the young adult fantasy genre, I feel like object covers are a win right now. I also feel like the pricing structure for those covers that do have the types of objects on it that I had discussed previously, they are priced at $4.99, $5.99, $6.99, $9.99. I mean, you do have some traditionally published books that are at $10.99, but most of the books that are wide, that are selling well, that are ranking on Amazon, do not have people on the cover. I'm going to go to the other subcategories that you have, and I'm going to look at it and I'm going to see if it's the same thing, which I feel like it might be. Let's go to the second subgenre you've got. This is Fairytales and Folklore. All right, so we're gonna look at this too. We're looking at KU books. We're looking at books that are not in Kindle Unlimited. And so we're gonna make an assessment on this. And so you've got these Kindle Unlimited books. They have people on them. You've got The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. It is, I believe, a traditionally published book. It's a very popular book, but it's an illustration. You've got this, which is a non-Kindle Unlimited book, The American Royals. It's an illustration. More Kindle Unlimited with People. Non-Kindle Unlimited, illustration. Illustration in KU. And I feel like when people do this, it's because they may go back and forth between KU and wide, but they are trying to target that traditionally published reader audience, so then they can get page reads and can get actual sales. Not KU, and it is just a scene. KU people. I'm not even going to look at the selection books. Those things are so old. Non-KU book. Illustration. Another one. An illustration. The next not KU book is an illustration. Same illustration. Not a KU book, illustration. I know these are like very popular books, but there's no reason to reinvent the wheel when it comes to this. Like, this tells you right here exactly what your cover needs to be. Non-KU book. I'm not looking at the selection because that's old AF. This is an object type cover. KU, people, illustration. Non-KU, this is an illustration with people. Illustration, non-KU. All these, non-KU, all illustrations. The Kindle Unlimited books have people on them. Women with magical types of elements that you've got on your books. This is wild. I've never broken it down like this, like for anybody, because I've not had anyone send me any books that are not in Kindle Unlimited. I'm on the second subcategory or subgenre. Same thing on this one. Non-KU, we've just got a regular discrete type cover. Non-KU objects. Non-KU objects. Every non-KU book looks like it's an object. Even Marissa Myers, they went through and did illustrations. Illustration for Scarlet too. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe. Non-KU? You got it. Illustration. And you'll notice these illustrations are dark colored as well. Blues, greens, blacks, purples. Think about the colors that's going to invoke those fairy tale emotions for that specific story and stick with that, but in a darker type element. Blood and Honey, that's a very popular book. It is a object cover. Non-KU object. You can start to see these patterns when you look at this. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull a bunch of these covers, most of them in KU, and I'm going to put them in Photoshop, and I'm going to show you why your cover with a girl on it fits in with the Kindle Unlimited audience and why it doesn't work if you're on all platforms. I'm just gonna pick a few because I think that if we lay it out a specific way, then you'll be able to actually visually see it and then make the right assessments when and if you get a cover redesign. Okay, these are not gonna look perfect, so y'all are just gonna have to deal with it. I want y'all to be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. Now I'm gonna go to Apple real quick, and the reason why I keep going to Apple, in case anyone is wondering, is because Apple, like, we make a lot of money on Apple, and there are times when Apple makes more than Amazon. There are times when Apple is just killing it and Amazon ain't budging. And I think it's a good indicator of what's selling on wide platforms, just because, you know, Apple's amazing. I want y'all to pay attention to the pricing when y'all are looking on wide platforms. Like, what is the pricing like for these books? What is the average price of these books? Are they traditionally published? Are they self-published? Like, what's the thing? What's going on with it? Real quick, Bethany, this is for you, okay? Look at this person's cover that she has for her 3-book series, because it gives you an opportunity to grab a reader with a different type of cover. So if you've got all of your covers and illustrations, you can put a person on the front of the box set that's completely different than what the other covers look like. And I find that when you do that, your super readers want that box set that has that different type of cover on it. I'm gonna go back as well. It looks like the blurb is not the same on Amazon as it is on the other sites too. So I would check that. And actually, like, I really like this. How can she protect her kingdom if she can't protect herself? Like, that's a hook. That's a freaking hook. I've never delved this deep in young adult in my life, and I used to read young adult like crazy, so this is kind of special in a way because, you know, I'm so caught up in romance land on Apple and all the other sites that I forget that other genres do exist. So it's actually a nice little look at how other genres are doing and what they're doing as far as covers and designs and different things of that nature. You know, I appreciate being able to look at this. I think that it's fun. Author of that book is Michael Scott. That's hilarious. I can't even think of the name Michael Scott without thinking of The Office. So that's pretty funny. Right here is the Kindle Unlimited best-selling books in usually fairy tale retellings. This is it. And we can look at your book, Bethany, and you can see that, yeah, it pretty much fits in. I don't care for the arch that's over the girl. I feel like most of these books have a scene that you want to travel into, and that arch kind of takes away from that. But I get what we were going for, like to see that she's like in a castle. Like, I get that. I would potentially get rid of the arch. I would make the castle more of a focus point in the background, because it seems to me like all of these books have castles in the background of the girl who's looking straight at you. And that would be my assessment. If this book was in Kindle Unlimited, I'd say yes, absolutely keep this cover with the girl. I know that it's not. So just looking at it laid out like this, there are some illustrated covers in KU, but for the most part, it's women like this. It is pretty girls in pretty dresses with pretty scenes behind them. And if you are a KU author and you're doing fairy tale retellings, this is the type of cover you absolutely need. Obviously I would have tweaks on it, but that's not here nor there because this is not a KU book. But it fits in perfect with that, right? Now we're gonna go to the illustrated cover that she has, which was the original cover, and we're gonna compare it to books that are selling now on Amazon in their ranking top 100 and also on Apple. Are you ready for this reveal? That's what you see. There are some covers that have women on the front. It's not as prevalent as it is in KU. So my suggestion would be to choose something that really invokes the Aladdin emotions from people who have not read your book. Anytime you do a cover rebrand, the goal is to find new readers, not your current ones. You've already got them captured. You've already got them purchasing all these books. And don't ask them because their opinion doesn't matter. Your friends' opinions don't matter. At the end of the day, it's your readers' opinions that matter. And the way that you find what readers want is by going to all of the sites and seeing what the trend is. And typically this trend doesn't change for a while. I mean, you shouldn't have to change covers for like 3 or 4 years. It should just be good to go for a while until it becomes stale. Or if you're doing like a 5-year anniversary, like that's a fun time to totally rebrand or relaunch it. If you look at your cover, the original, compared to the stuff that's selling today, that's ranking on pretty much all these platforms, you can see a trend. They are darker. They have kind of magical elements, but the wispy things that you have around the castle is something more that you see for Kindle Unlimited books with like witches and things of that nature. I didn't see a lot of this wispy stuff with object covers. I would say that the coloring for the background with the moon and the flowers and all of that, it's intriguing and it fits in really well with these books. But the white magic wisps and the clouds at the bottom are just a little bit too much. So if you had it redesigned, I would honestly kind of nix the castle. And the reason why I say that is because while the genie lamp is cliche, a castle in fairy tale retellings also is. So if you're trying to really niche down on the fairy tale retelling, you need to choose an object that is going to evoke emotions from people who love Aladdin, the Disney version, and then you add that twist to it and you make it your own. And yeah, that's the difference. We'll go back here to the KU books. I don't know if your book was originally in KU. If it was originally in KU with an illustrated cover, then you had the wrong cover. And then if you moved it to wide and then changed it to the girl cover, you changed it to the cover that would have done well in KU. And that's going to be my opinion on this one. So one more last look. This is the Kindle Unlimited books with Bethany's cover that she currently has on all platforms. And this is the original cover with the books that are currently selling on Amazon that are not in Kindle Unlimited. These are also books that are selling on Apple Books right now. I didn't pull all of them because most of them were like this. They were dark. They had different objects, sans serif, but some of them are cursive. So I think like with the font, like it's not a huge deal, but you want it to be bold and you want you really want the title to pop. The title is a center point on these books. Like your eye is drawn to that. And you can take those different elements that you see in these books that are selling really well and you can be like, oh, okay, so, you know, most of them are using the color blue right now and those are the ones that are ranking. And the titles take up half the cover. Your name, I think, could be bolder. I like how Melanie Dickerson's name is. I noticed though in young adult that is not really a thing where people will stack their name as much as it is in romance, but you do see some. You're lucky because your name is like the same length, like your first and last name is really close, so you could potentially do that. And I know when people are more about branding themselves than branding their books because their name starts selling their books, no matter whatever they write, they will stack it and make their name the focus point. And so that's something to consider later on, you know, when you're like, I could literally write anything and it sells like hotcakes. At that point, that's when you want to rebrand where your name is a focal point because your name is what's going to sell the book, not the title or the cover. That's something to think about in the future. I do think your name should be bolder though. I think that we should be able to read it. If we look at it in thumbnail and look at it really small, I can read Kingdom. It looks like Stickin' Kingdom. I can tell that that's a moon in thumbnail, but I can't read your name. When it comes to the girl cover, I would suggest that you change it. I think that it was designed for a Kindle Unlimited audience and not for wide platforms. And I feel like that if you went back to an object type cover that was not a cliche castle, that these books would sell a lot better. And think about color schemes and the colors that you think of when you think about these fairy tales and kind of incorporate that, keep the cover more on the darker type side. That is my assessment. Thank you so much for allowing me to look at these, to go through it. I really had a good time. I hope that you found it helpful. As always, like, my inbox is open. If you have any questions about anything that I said, then feel free to message me. I'm happy to chat about it in more depth if you would like. Guys, y'all know that this is not like me trying to rip anybody's covers apart. Bethany sent these to me to give my opinion. So I'm not like just taking authortubers covers and, you know, going on about them and all this stuff. It's not like that. Every set of covers that I critique, the author has given me permission to do so, and they have willingly sent them to me knowing that I could say whatever it is that I'm gonna say. I'm gonna be honest about it, because if we're honest with each other and we break things down for each other like this, then it helps everyone be successful in this industry and to level up. And that's the whole purpose of this. As I said before, I appreciate you giving these covers to me to look at. If you do decide to change your covers, feel free to send them to me. I'll look at them, and I'll even send you these PSDs if you want. And when you go, if you go to get your covers redesigned, you can literally just take these covers out that's yours and put the new ones in and see if it fits and do tweaks based on what's selling right now. And like I said, this stuff shouldn't change quick. Like, it's not like you're going to change your covers in a month or 2 or 3 and then you're going to have to change them again a year from now. That shouldn't happen. I think that if you did a complete cover rebrand for the entire series, remember what I said about those box sets on Amazon? Keep that in mind. Like, you deserve to make your money, and up the price for your paperbacks on Amazon to $14.99, and also up the price of that 4-book set and get a cover that is more like a flat lay for the wide platforms. I think, you know, the box set is okay for Amazon, but for the wide ones, I would get a flat lay because you have the opportunity to grab more readers and make more money and up that price to $15.99 minimum for those 4 books, because you deserve to be paid for your work. That is all I have for this. My inbox is open, so please feel free to message me and we can chat about it further. And for everyone else that's still here, I hope that you found this very helpful and very insightful. We had books that were written for Kindle Unlimited. We had covers that were made for Kindle Unlimited, and we launched those books wide and they didn't sell because they were created for a Kindle Unlimited audience. And it wasn't that the words were necessarily for a KU audience, it was the cover and the branding for the entire series was. So it flopped. We changed the titles, we changed the covers, and it did a lot better. And at that point, it's when I realized that whatever you have in KU and you branded for KU doesn't really always work for a wide platform. Some KU authors are really good about branding, where if they were to move those books to wide, they wouldn't have to change their covers because they made their covers to the next level from the get-go, although it seems like they don't really fit in with what's trending in KU. You will see authors who will make a ton of money in Kindle Unlimited, and then they'll pull those books, they'll put them on all platforms, and they'll do great. They'll do amazing because their packaging was correct for a higher end audience. Not to say that KU readers are a low-end audience or reader or anything like that, but they can compete with traditionally published books. That's the goal as a self-published author on all platforms. You should be able to put your book cover among other covers of well-known authors that are on all platforms, and a reader shouldn't be able to tell if that book is self-published or if it's traditionally published. And when you can do that, that's when you can make great money on all platforms. So if you're making way more money on Amazon and being on, you know, Draft2 Digital or all platforms is just not working for you, you probably have a packaging problem and you're still in that Amazon Kindle Unlimited mindset, and you thought that you could just, you know, pull your books from KU and put them on all platforms and, oh, they're just gonna sell like hotcakes. But you have the wrong packaging. Like, you have to do everything that you can to make sure that you can compete with all the books on all the platforms, because Amazon is not the end all be all. And so you have to do your research on all the platforms to really pinpoint what's selling for your main genre. And so that's enough of that. I appreciate you guys for listening and hanging out, but I think it's now giveaway time. Oh my goodness. So what you have to do to enter this $200 giveaway that is intended for a cover, it will be sent to you via PayPal, friends and family. You have to be a subscriber to my channel. Just leave a heart emoji down below and tell me why you would like to win this money to go towards covers. And that's it. I will use a random comment generator, but if you don't explain why you think that you should win, then you're not going to be entered to win, because I want people who really want this to rebrand one of their covers or 2 of their covers. You can maybe shop around and find a deal or find a designer that will work with you. You're going to be able to hire whoever you want to hire with this money. And I hope that it really does help someone, because I know how expensive covers are and I know how difficult it is to want that designer who is $200 or $300 and not be able to afford it. And so I think this will give someone an opportunity to maybe bring their series to the next level. And that's the goal. Special thank you to Shannon. She like I said, donated $75, gave back her prize, and then I matched what she donated so you guys could have this giveaway. So thank you so much, Shannon, for being so generous and paying it forward to somebody else in the community. So that's all I have this week, guys. If you would like to submit your cover, holy crap, I have so many, but if you would like to submit it, please feel free to email me at lyraparish@gmail.com and make sure that it says cover critique in the title. I'm getting to them when I can get to them. I hope that y'all learned something, and if you have any questions, leave them below. I hope you have an amazing, incredible week. You accomplish all your goals and you write all the words, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye, guys.